They say you should never build your house on a weak foundation. But what if you don't know it's weak? What if the person you trusted most to hold the blueprint was secretly digging a tunnel underneath it the whole time? My name is Leo, and I learned that lesson in the most brutal way possible. This is the story of how my own wife, and the man she called a lawyer, tried to steal a $4 million future right from under my feet. For 10 years, my life with Clara was a partnership. I was the big picture guy, the dreamer. I ran a successful marketing agency, always chasing the next big client, the next innovation. Clara? She was the architect. She managed our books, our investments, our life. She was brilliant with numbers. I joke that she could make $1 do backflips. I trusted her completely. Why wouldn't I? We were a team. Every dollar I earned, I saw as our money, building our dream life. The dream was a house on the lake. We had the land picked out. We even had the architect's drawings. The total cost, $4.2 million. It was our magic number. Every business deal I closed, every late night at the office, was for that house, for that future. I was building the walls, and I truly believed Clara was laying the strongest foundation any marriage could have. The first crack appeared on a random Tuesday. Clara was different, distant. She'd been spending more time with her new friend, a guy named David she'd met at a business networking event. She said he was a financial consultant. I thought nothing of it. I was busy, she was building her network. It seemed normal. Then the bomb dropped. I can't do this anymore. Leo, she said one evening, her voice cold and flat. I want a divorce. The words didn't make sense. They echoed in the silence of our beautiful but now empty home. I was devastated. I begged, I pleaded. I asked what I had done wrong. But her mind was made up. She was already prepared. I've hired a lawyer, she said, handing me a crisp, white business card. His name is Robert Vance. He'll be in touch. Robert Vance. The name sounded powerful, important. I felt small. When the divorce papers arrived, they were a work of art, a work of cruel, devastating art. They outlined how my business, my life's work, was so intertwined with our marital assets that to separate it would be to destroy it. They demanded an outrageous alimony, citing Clara's sacrifice for my career. The numbers were so precise, so perfectly calculated to target my weaknesses. It felt personal. It felt like someone had been inside my head, studying my fears. My own lawyer was a good man, but he was baffled. Leo, he'd say, it's like they have a spy in your office. They know everything. The legal battle was a nightmare. Every move I made, Robert Vance was there to counter it. He knew about a private loan I'd taken out to cover payroll. He knew about an old investment I'd written off. He even knew the specific valuation I'd given for the lake house project, the $4.2 million dream. It was eerie. The pressure was crushing me. My business was suffering. My spirit was broken. I was in my home office one night, a place that once felt like my command center, now feeling like a prison. I was packing things into a box, getting ready to move out, my heart heavy with grief. As I unplugged my old desktop computer, a photo frame fell over. It was a picture of Clara and me at a charity gala a year ago. We were smiling. But in the background, just over her shoulder, was a man I recognized. It was David, Clara's financial consultant friend, and he was shaking hands with another man, a man whose face I had come to know all too well from legal documents and court appearances. Robert Vance, the lawyer. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a connection. David wasn't just a friend. He was the link. But Robert Vance was a registered, licensed attorney. I'd checked. So what was the play? Driven by a new, desperate energy, I started digging. I wasn't a lawyer, but I was a researcher. It's what I did for a living. I looked into Robert Vance. His record was clean, but something felt off. His practice was new, and all his cases seemed to be high-net-worth divorces. I dug deeper into business registrations, cross-referencing names. And then I found it. In a database for a neighboring state, I found a registration for a shell company. The company's registered agent was a name that made my heart stop. David, Clara's friend. And one of the company's principals was listed as Robert Vance. Robert Vance wasn't just a lawyer. He and David were partners in more ways than one. This was a sophisticated con. David would befriend the spouse, gather intelligence, and then Robert would come in as the ruthless lawyer, using that inside information to dismantle their life. I raced home to the one place Clara never went, the garage. I tore through boxes of her old things she'd packed away hastily. And there it was. Tucked inside an old handbag was a small silver USB drive. With trembling hands, I plugged it into my laptop. The files on it were a confession, spreadsheets tracking my business revenue, drafts of the divorce filing, email exchanges between Clara and David, talking about me, about the plan. And the most damning one, a document titled Project Lakefront. It was a full financial breakdown of how to liquidate my assets and secure a total of $4.2 million. It was all there. The entire ugly truth. The fake lawyer, the secret partner, the betrayal. They weren't just getting a divorce. They were executing a corporate takeover of my life. I didn't confront Clara. I went straight to my lawyer with the USB drive. He was speechless. This was more than just grounds for divorce. This was evidence of a criminal conspiracy. The final court hearing was nothing like the ones before. This time we weren't on the defense. My lawyer presented the evidence to the judge. He explained the scheme, the fake lawyer, the collusion. The color drained from Clara's face. Robert Vance, or whatever his real name was, sat completely still, his professional mask shattered. The judge's ruling was swift and severe. The divorce petition was thrown out. Clara was entitled to nothing. In fact, she was ordered to pay a significant portion of my legal fees. Robert Vance was reported to the Bar Association for a fraud investigation. Their entire house of cards, built so carefully over months, collapsed in a single afternoon. There was no screaming, no dramatic confession, just the quiet, hollow sound of the gavel. I looked at Clara one last time. The woman I had loved, the architect of my dreams, was now just a stranger who had tried to destroy me, and she had failed. I never built that house on the lake. The dream was tainted, the blueprint corrupted. But I did build something new. I took the remnants of my business and my spirit, and I started again. This time I was my own architect. The $4.2 million wasn't just money. It was a symbol of a future that was built on a lie. Letting it go was the first step to healing. The real fortune wasn't in a bank account. It was in the lesson I learned. The world is full of Roberts and Davids and Claras, people who look at your blueprint and see only what they can take. They operate in the shadows, thinking their cleverness makes them invincible. But the truth has a funny way of coming to light. It might be in a fallen picture frame, a forgotten USB drive, or a quiet moment of realization. So build your life, chase your dreams, but always, always read the fine print on your own blueprint. Trust your gut when something feels wrong, because the strongest foundation you can ever build is one made of your own integrity, your own resilience, and the unshakable knowledge that no one can take away who you are. The money they can steal, but your character, that's yours to keep forever.